to traditional monotheism. God is among other things omnipotent. Now, for this to be a meaningful claim, the theist must define what it is to be omnipotent. At the very least, it should be logically coherent, and if it is to be attributed to God, it must not conflict with other properties or powers that are traditionally attributed to the person of God. I'm going to briefly run through some candidate definitions of omnipotence that are quite popular among theists. We can start with a rather simple definition. Omnipotence is the power to bring about any state of affairs. Now that sure seems to capture what we generally mean by the word omnipotence. If somebody is all-powerful, surely any state of affairs should be within their power to create. However, without qualifiers, this definition simply won't do. After all, the vast majority of theists hold that God cannot bring about a square circle, or make it the case that 2 and 2 is 5. Moreover, there's the issue of freedom. Can God bring about the free actions of other agents? At least on libertarian views of freedom, which state that an act is only free if wholly uncaused by anything outside the acting agent, it would appear not. This first definition, then, is unacceptable. But theists have sought to remedy these conflicts by proposing a modified definition of omnipotence. Omnipotence, to them, is the ability to bring about any state of affairs that is metaphysically possible. So this solves the problems above because on this definition, the inability to bring about metaphysically impossible states of affairs is not a point against God's having omnipotence, because this view of omnipotence does not include the ability to do the metaphysically impossible. But we're not out of the woods just yet. A new problem arises here when we look at other properties traditionally attributed to God. God is, after all, traditionally defined as being essentially morally perfect. If that is true, God is essentially powerless to bring about any state of affairs that is God doing something morally wrong. Now, humans, on the other hand, are perfectly capable of bringing about states of affairs in which they are trespassing morally. It follows, then, that this definition is also unacceptable, because there is nothing metaphysically impossible about doing such a thing. Definition 3. X is omnipotent if X has the ability to bring about any state of affairs that is metaphysically possible for X to bring about. And so this helps fix the problem with God's inability to bring about states of affairs because of other parts of his nature, i.e. his moral perfection. But while it avoids that problem, it simultaneously gives birth to a new problem. Mainly, it renders omnipotence completely trivial. What do I mean by that? Well, consider Makir. Makir is an imaginary creature thought up by philosopher Alvin Plantinga. According to Plantinga, Makir has the essential attribute of being able to do nothing but scratch his ear. Notice that this latest definition has the radically unacceptable consequence of making Makir omnipotent. After all, Makir is, as definition 3 stipulates, capable of bringing about any state of affairs that it is metaphysically possible for him to bring about. Because like God's morally perfect nature, Makir's essential nature also restricts his abilities. In Makir's case, though, his powers are restricted to bringing about the state of affairs that is him scratching his ear. According to this definition, then, his inability to bring about literally any other possible state of affairs shouldn't count against his being considered omnipotent. On this view, then, everybody is omnipotent. This third definition, then, is also completely unacceptable. If there is no acceptable definition of omnipotence, then it follows that there is no acceptable definition of God, at least as classically defined. And to be clear, I'm not making the claim that there is no satisfactory definition of omnipotence to be found. Perhaps in future videos we will explore more sophisticated accounts of omnipotence to see if they fare better as to their ability to both cohere with itself and other properties traditionally attributed to God, while also preserving some remaining intuitive sense of how we actually use the word omnipotence. Please click subscribe and help spread the word about real life theology. consider becoming a patron by contributing even just $1 or $2 per video. The link is in the description. And also, if you are a part of a secular or religious campus or community group and are interested in having me speak or debate at a future event, please contact me at realatheology@gmail.com. Thanks for watching.